Elias had always been a man of distance. He roamed the world, but never truly belonged to it. His heart was a wanderer, as restless as the wind. It was easier to chase after treasures, to collect relics from places he'd never settle in, than to look inward, to face the uncharted territory of his own soul. And yet, no matter how much gold or silver he gathered, he always felt empty, like a well that had run dry, no matter how much water it had once held. The small town of Briarvale seemed no different than any other. The buildings were weathered, the streets winding and narrow. The people were kind, though wary of outsiders. Elias stayed only long enough to rest his feet, but then he met Mara. She was unlike anyone he had ever encountered. On the surface, she was plain, her clothes simple, her hands worn from years of labor. But her eyes, those eyes, held a depth he couldn't ignore. When she looked at him, it was as if she saw into him, as if she could hear the silent parts of his heart that he hadn't even dared to listen to. The first evening they spoke, they sat by the town's little river, the light of the setting sun rippling across the water. She told him stories about the town, of people he would never meet, of lives that would never be written down in books. There was a warmth in her voice, a steadiness in her presence, that made Elias want to stay, to listen longer, to learn more. She didn't ask about his travels or where he had been. She didn't need to. Instead, she spoke of the small joys of life, of growing gardens, of reading to children, of knitting scarves for the winter. It wasn't the kind of treasure Elias had spent his life searching for, but there was something magnetic in her simple way of being. There was a richness to it that he couldn't quite understand. As days turned to weeks, Elias found himself returning to Mara again and again. He helped her with odd tasks, carrying baskets of apples to the market, fixing a fence around her modest garden. In return, she taught him the quiet art of looking at the world with a tenderness he had never known, seeing beauty in the smallest things. One evening, after a day of laboring in the fields, Mara invited him inside her home for a meal. The scent of stew filled the room, the fire crackling softly in the hearth. As they ate, Mara spoke of the people in Briarvale, their hopes, their struggles, their loves. And as she spoke, Elias realized that, while she had never sought out the grand treasures of the world, she had discovered something far greater. She had learned the secret of how to care, how to love, how to give. "I've spent my life searching for gold in all the wrong places," Elias said, his voice quiet but full of meaning. "I thought the world was full of shiny things that would make me whole. But now I see, it's not the gold we hold in our hands that matters, but the gold we hold in our hearts." Mara